Perfect. Well, thank you for coming and thank you for coming on today. If you just want to introduce yourself and talk about who you are and kind of your accomplishments, that'd be great.
Yeah, my bad. Gareon Conley, um, former Ohio State Buckeye at the Ohio State University. Played cornerback there. Um, was drafted, blessed enough to be drafted in the first round. Uh, 24th pick overall to the Oakland Raiders, and played corner for them and the Houston Texans as well.
Awesome. I know you talked about Ohio State. Do you want to talk about your recruiting process and what kind of led you to Ohio State?
Yeah, so I was originally uh,
Committed to Michigan.
committed to Team Up North.
Mm-hmm.
They they were like my first big offer. So people don't really know I wasn't really a football player. I was a hooper. Uh, I didn't play football until seventh grade, my first time ever. And then seventh, I played running back. Eighth grade, I played quarterback. Freshman year, freshman year, I played quarterback, but I didn't play because when I went to a new school, they had a quarterback that they already wanted to play.
Yep.
So like, do you want to play receiver? And I was like, nope. So I was just like, quit. I didn't. First day I went and I didn't go after that. So I didn't play freshman year. Sophomore year I played JV. I really didn't even play JV. I was on JV. I didn't even get in a game at all. I was number 97 at receiver,
Yep.
and never seen the field even on JV. But I was killing the varsity. Like I was on scout team, I would always kill the varsity DBs. Like they could not stop me, but they just didn't want to give me an opportunity. So I was just like, I'm not playing football no more. I'm not playing next year. I'm just gonna be done with it. And then Devin Smith, who I'm real close with, he went to my high school. And then he ended up going to Ohio State, but he was telling me when he was getting recruited and he was committed already. Um, he was like, man, you should just play football. Like, it's my football or my school, my high school is a big football school. So you just tell him like, man, you should just play football, stick with it. Like it's going to give you opportunity, whatever. So I'm like, maybe. So I ended up trying out next year and there was a corner spot that was open. Never played corner before, but it was a chance for me to start in varsity. So I was just like, I'm going to take it. So I ended up playing corner, being fairly good at it, and got an offer from Northwestern and a couple schools. And then the team up north, they were like my biggest offer. And me not playing football, me not knowing anything about college or recruiting, I was just like, man, I'm not gonna get a bigger offer than this, so I might as well commit. And I thought that's what you were supposed to do anyway. You're supposed to commit verbally. So I committed there. And then I found out more about the recruiting process and how you can take like your visits to five other schools or five schools or whatever. It's free. And I'm just like, man, I want to visit other schools. I want to see what's out there because I've only been to Michigan. I'm like, I want to see other schools. So they found out, and this was about the time when Ohio State started recruiting me. They weren't even heavy. I wasn't even considering them at all, anything. But Michigan found out that I was wanting to visit other schools. And they were like, if you visit any other schools, we're going to pull your scholarship. So I took that as a threat. So I was just like, all right, I'm decommitting. And I
Mm.
waited for the coach to come to my high school and I told him to his face, I said, I'm decommitting. He was like, you don't want to go to Ohio State if that's what you're thinking about. Da, 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 da. So that's all they were thinking about, obviously. And then I ended up getting recruited by Mike Vrabel. And he was like the one that mainly was coming like to my school and to my house and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then him and Coach Meyer ended up coming to my house. And then Coach Meyer came to like one of my basketball practices one time. And they just kept following up. And then I went on a visit there and I just loved it. And there was people there that I already knew. So I just committed there. And to what Michigan. I committed there.
Awesome. Yeah. So after college, you obviously went to the NFL. Can you kind of talk about the draft process, the combine, and kind of what led to you ultimately getting selected 21st, 24th overall by the Raiders?
Yeah. So the combine process is awful. Like It's the longest 4 days ever. It's a good experience to have, though. I mean, new experiences are always good, and I'm appreciative of getting invited to the combine. But the process is just long, and me going to the combine actually helped my draft stock because I was considered to be second round, I guess, like pre-draft grade, and because they thought I was slow, I guess, and thought I didn't have good hips. That was like the reports going around. So when I got to the combine and I ran a 4.4, and my drills were really good, they like basically my stock went up, and they said I was going to be a first round draft pick. But I knew all along, like I had the ability. I didn't really care, and I didn't care if I. I mean, of course, I'm happy to be blessed to go first round. But no matter what round I went, like I still was going to
Yeah, you
show,
had an opportunity.
still confident, yeah, for sure. And then what's crazy is like I was supposed to be like possibly a top 10 pick, for sure top 15, and then I had a rape case,
Yeah,
and it dropped me. It was like the day of the draft. I think it was the day before it came out that I had a case, which the incident happened in March, and the girl waited till the day before the draft for the media or whatever, police waited to file like the lawsuit the day before the draft.
yeah.
So then I ended up thinking like I wasn't gonna get drafted at all. Like there were reports saying that I was gonna drop, I was gonna be like low rounds or not drafted at all. So I was at the draft actually the day of or the day before when I found out, and then ended up leaving because all that happened, and I didn't want to be around the media or anything.
Hmm.
And then I was just watching the draft because I was like, I want to see where my boys Marshawn and Malik get drafted. So I was just watching it, but not even like expecting me to get drafted, just watching it for them. And then I got a call when they were on the 24th pick, and it was Reggie McKenzie. He was like, "This is Reggie McKenzie from the Oakland Raiders," and I was just like, "Damn, they really still drafted me." So that was really how my process went, getting drafted.
Yeah. Obviously after the draft, you had preseason, and your first couple of years were with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to talk about the first time stepping on an NFL field, those different types of matchups, who you were excited to play, who you were impressed by, just kind of your first initial experiences as an NFL corner.
Yeah. So when I first got there, like when I went to the facility, it was still just surreal. It was all just a lot going in. But I ended up getting injured my first year. When I got there in like spring for the off-season workouts, I fractured my tibia. It was just a stress fracture though, but I could barely like run on it. Um, so I missed the first game. I missed training camp, the first training camp. I missed the first game. I played the second game and I did decent against the Jets. And then the third game was the Redskins, and that was just like really, really painful. And then I ended up not playing the rest of that season, and then I got surgery that season. But the transition was definitely different because the speed of the game is definitely faster, and you're going against a lot more elite athletes. But me just going in, there was nobody really that I wanted to play against or just was looking forward to because I didn't watch football. So I didn't really even know like anybody. I still don't know players. I know players by numbers, not names. Like
Hmm.
I treat everybody like they're just a person. I don't really know people's names. I don't really watch football. I watch a lot of film, but I don't really watch like games and stuff. So I didn't even know anybody at the time anyway.
Yeah. All right. When you think about who's in this next draft class, um, kind of guys that are coming up, is there anybody that's kind of young that you see has potential that maybe people aren't talking about in the NFL, or guys that you played with when you were at Ohio State or were you with the Raiders or the Texans that doesn't get enough like shine that you think
Uh,
deserve recognition?
I mean, there's a lot of guys all over, even guys that I don't know. I don't know any really body in this draft class besides a couple quarterbacks. But like I said, I don't really watch none of that, so I don't even know. But just in general, I know I could say there's always guys that played that were just like good that just don't get the same opportunities, you know.
Yeah.
I know I can vouch for Keyshawn Nixon. He was a corner. He was undrafted. I think he was undrafted. He was either late, like seventh, sixth, seventh, or undrafted when I was at the Raiders, and he was balling like all camp, like both camps, both years that I was there with him. And he just never got an opportunity. Like he played special teams. He always went hard on special teams. Just never got the opportunity that he should have got. And then he ended up going to the Packers, and now he's shining. Like you can
Big time
see,
returner.
he's playing all different positions now, and they're just showing the athlete that he is and the playmaker that he is. So I can vouch for a person like that for sure.
Yeah. And that honestly just shows kind of because he followed Rich Bisaccia, who was with the Raiders, their interim
Yeah.
head coach, when he took that special teams job. And that only
Right.
speaks volumes to his ability to see talent in people when others don't. And that's probably part of the
Exactly.
reason they had success and they
Yeah.
had that playoff run last year compared to this year, where you got new coaches in the building and the Raiders didn't have, per se, as great of a season as many said they would or expected with all the
Right.
talent they brought in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um, I guess my next question is you obviously played with Derek Carr. Uh,
Hmm.
he's now a free agent. Is there anywhere that you think is a good fit in the NFL for him or somewhere you would like to see him, a head coach you want to see him with?
Um, I mean, anywhere. Me and DC, we cool. He's a real good dude. I think he's not underrated, but I think people
Quick to
just like
comment.
yeah, they're really critical of him of when he makes a bad play more than his good plays and than what he's done. I think he's better than people think. Um, but I mean, I feel like personally like he'd be good for like a Carolina or something like that. But any team he goes to, honestly, because he's versatile for real. But
Hmm.
I feel going to somewhere like that.
Yeah, somewhere they got that strong run game, good young defense.
Yeah, they
Awesome.
got a couple receivers that are like decent. Um,
Yeah, they got
but
DJ Moore. They got a
yeah,
couple.
he's nice. But they have a couple others that are decent too.
Yeah,
But I see him fitting somewhere like that. I can see him going to the Saints kind of too.
yeah.
But it just depends. Yeah,
You bring up the Saints. I'm personally from San Diego, and when I was playing high school ball, I played against Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, who were their two young guys this year, and they
yeah,
were absolute studs. And Rashid Shaheed didn't get really much recruiting. He ended up going to Weber State from Mount Carmel High School. Obviously,
yeah,
Chris Olave was touted as one of the best receivers out of high school. Ended up at Ohio State,
yeah,
where some consider wide receiver U now because of all the great talent that they keep pumping out.
yeah.
Um, is there anybody that when you were at Ohio State that was a receiver that you had like great competition with that you guys kind of pushed each other to become the top players that y'all became?
Yeah, every receiver at Ohio State. I was just talking about this earlier. Our practices were so hard that our games were easy.
Yeah.
And no game is like easy, but our games were easier than practices because if everybody asked me like, "Who's the best receiver you played against college?" and I always said like our receivers.
Mm.
We had Devin Smith, we had Mike Thomas, Corey Smith, Johnny Dixon, Paris Campbell, like guys like that. You're just going against every day in and out. And then what's crazy is guys like that were our scout team. Like
Hmm.
Terry, Johnny Dixon, Paris Campbell, they're our scout team receivers. Like so, scout is supposed to be the easy period. Like we're going hard. Like we got to strap it up in scout team period. Joe Burrow is our scout team quarterback. Like
Yeah.
this ain't even scout. This is
Full-
fucking the game. It's like the game at every practice. But no, I feel like definitely me and Mike, uh, my junior or shit, my whole time there, me and Michael Thomas,
Mhm.
I did a lot, and he made me better for sure. Me and Noah Brown went at it a lot
Yeah.
in practice. Like we had some real good comps. I'm trying to think. Uh, those would be the two I would say because those were like we had like boundary and field receivers, and I
Hmm.
was a boundary winner in college mostly. So I really went against them a lot. So, but all of our receivers honestly made each other better. Our DBs and receivers for sure.
Yeah. Do you kind of want to speak on how difficult it really is to play corner, especially at the NFL level? Because I feel like that doesn't get spoken on much in the media, and it's just criticized when you give up a call. You get a holding in the game. That's all people talk about. They don't talk about your 55 snaps of perfect coverage.
Yeah, and I feel like playing DB in general, safety or corner or nickel, is hard. But I feel like corner and nickel are basically the same. Nickel just plays in the run and blitzes and stuff. But playing like man to man and being a corner is just hard mentally and physically. Like just based off before the ball even snaps. I got a guy in front of me. I'm backwards. There's a guy in front of me that is possibly just as athletic or more athletic than me, just as fast or faster, just as strong or stronger, and just as quick or quicker. And he knows where he's going, and I don't.
Hmm.
And he has all the field and space to do it within, 5 yards, and I can only touch him in those 5 yards. And receivers are getting to 5 yards in 1 second. Like, so it's just like you basically can't touch them because you only can touch them within 5 yards. And then just the mental aspect of like knowing that you got to stay patient and you got to react to everything that this fast, strong, quick guy is doing. You got to react to everything that he does. You can't do anything before to dictate anything. You have to wait and see what he does and react to that. And you're telling me that he can push off me and he can do all this, but I can't grab him or hold him. Like it's just crazy, man. But I feel like that aspect of it is why it's so difficult. And then even more so in games, in the NFL for sure, like they attack you because they know, like, even if you're a great corner, like you still get a ball thrown on you, like all the time. Like it doesn't matter who you are because you're out there fatigued, you're out there knowing your technique isn't going to be perfect every play. Like you said, there's going to be one catch made on you and people are going to just look at that rather than if you had 60 snaps of good coverage, And then also in games, like you'll get like a receiver that just is you don't even know who he is. He knows he's not getting the ball, but he's just running down the field to clear you out so another route can come by or whatever. But you still got to cover that dude like he might get the ball. So that's first down. You got him. You do that. You know he's not getting the ball. He knows he's not getting the ball, but you got to cover him. So you just ran a sprint all the way down the field almost. Now you got to come back to the line of scrimmage. He gets to come out. Now they're putting in Tyreek Hill to run another route.
Yeah.
Now he runs. Now you got to run again. Let's say he catches it or he doesn't catch it or whatever. Next down, let's say it's third down. Tyreek can get a sub. Now here comes Jalen Waddle. Now
Yeah.
you got to cover him. This is the third down. You just ran 3 sprints at fucking 20 miles an hour. Like,
Yeah.
so it's just crazy. Like stuff like that. Just mentally, you just got to be locked in. You got to just be ready for the next play while everybody else is getting subs and doing different stuff when you got to cover everybody. So I feel like that's basically the reason why I feel like it's definitely the hardest position on the field.
Would you say that corners have to be the best athletes on their team, the most conditioned, the most, and it's also the mental aspect of you
Yes.
need to know what your opponent's doing, and it's you have to be the most mentally in shape, the most physically in shape, and you can't let everybody else react off you. Like you are the heart of the defense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like I said, like I always say, I should say, is every position is hard, especially in the NFL. Like
It's not,
it's hard as hell to make it to the NFL. And every position is hard. Not saying because I say DB is the hardest that other positions aren't. There are a lot of other positions that are hard. And then who you're going against, it just makes it harder. But I just feel like definitely corner is the hardest. And like you said, mentally and physically, because you have to be ready for all that and definitely have to be the most in shape or most like prepared because like I said, you're going against guys that are possibly more athletic or more or quicker, faster. So it's just like I got to stop this guy. So yeah, I got to be then they're the most prepared, honestly. And like you said, just knowing like the mental aspect of if I give up a play, like that it messes up the team because if I miss him, he scores. If somebody misses up front or something, he can make up for it. He got time to make a
They gotta
tackle.
go behind the D line. Yeah,
Yeah. My job is literally like critical each play. And then, like I said, like you said as well, just being able to snap and clear. Like if I give up a catch or a touchdown, like I can't be thinking about it. I gotta hurry up and just go and line up the next play. So it's definitely a lot going into the corner for
yeah.
sure.
Um, I know your time in the NFL, you were with the Texans and the Raiders. Can you just talk about the different cultures of those teams and kind of compare and contrast what you enjoy
Yeah,
from those two different organizations?
yeah. So I was with two different staffs at the Raiders. My first year, it was all my years in each organization was weird. The first year was it was good coaches and a good team. Uh, we had Rod Woodson as my corners coach, but he wasn't the head DB coach, which didn't make sense at all. And then I remember me and him talking, and he was just like, whatever anybody says to you, just remember, like, I'm your coach. He said, listen to me. He said, just nod your head when people tell you stuff, but just listen to me. And I'm just like, all right. And I'm just like, what does he mean by that? And then as the season goes on, I see what he meant. And it was just like people trying to just do everything or be the DB coach that weren't, and just all that, but just like not really listening to what he has to say or what our defensive coordinator, Kid Norton at the time. It was just a mess. Politically, I feel like it's a lot of politics in coaching,
Yeah,
and then in the NFL in general. But I feel like the organizations where that is a problem, that's the organizations that you see find ways to lose, like
yeah,
a lot or consistently. So the first staff, it was just weird, as in a coaching thing. Uh, Gruden staff, it was just I just didn't like it. Like I did not, I did not want to be there. Like it got to a point where I would like fake sick or say my son was sick or just excuses just to not go some days. Like, and this is something like I love to do. I love competing at the highest level. I want to get better. I want to be the best. I want to win. And it got to a point where I didn't even want to go in the building. So
yeah,
it's just, that's not normal. Like that's something's going on. It was just, the staff alone was just, it just wasn't for me. Uh, and then, when I got traded, because I was like happy I even got traded, and I tell people about that year when I got traded a lot because people always think like it's on the players. It's not. It's just always on the players, and I tell them like it's on coaches and players, and it's about the staff you have and the environment. So the organization alone of the Raiders is good. Like I love the fan base and like the people above the coaches and all that. They were cool. Um, but like I had my worst 8 games of my career in 2019 at the Raiders. I
mm-hmm.
got traded to the Texans. And statistically, I had my worst 8 games, and I got traded to the Texans, and I had my best 8 games statistically in my career in the same season. That shows you right there that it's more than just football. It's not just on the field stuff. So when I got traded to the Texans, like it was just way different. Like as far as like communication, everything was clear. There were no fake stuff, none of that stuff. There was still a little coaching drama. I feel like that's just all around the league. Besides those teams that are consistently good, but as far as like just the team, everybody was on the same page, and the coaches were on the same page with the players, and you can see that. That's like why we went to the divisional round and all that. But there was, like I said, there was just coaching issues there as well. Like there's no way we were up 24-0 and ended up losing in the game. Like it's just crazy. But yeah, those are my experiences in the league as far as organizations.
Yeah. If you were to look at the just landscape of the NFL right now, is there a team or organization that you see as like a fit for you if you were to come back and play in the NFL? As like, you think you would be able to thrive under those coaches or thrive in that organization?
Um, honestly, there's nobody that I would just say I should be a fit for. I look at things as in just opportunity,
Hmm.
especially play in 2 years. Any team that would just give me an opportunity, I'm gonna try to make it work, and hopefully, I'm a good fit for it.
Hmm.
But civic team, but I just seize the opportunities, and I feel like I can go to any organization and help for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of exploring those other leagues that are popping up or looking at the CFL, the USFL? I know there's a bunch of new opportunities to get film. Is that anything that has that ever crossed your mind, or are you just committed to what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's crossed my mind, of course. I know I got former teammates that I played with that play in those leagues. I mean, like I said, it just depends on opportunity. Of course, my goal is to be in the NFL. But like I said, I haven't played in 2 years, so there's no guarantee that an NFL team even wants me or would give me an opportunity.
Hmm.
So it just depends on what how it comes up. But honestly, if it was a thing where I could get back healthy, because that's my main focus right now, is just getting back healthy. If I make it to where I can run and I'm healthy and be able to run with no pain, uh, whether I go to the NFL or if there was a USFL opportunity there, I would take it for sure. Because I know if I can run with no pain, that's all I need, and I'm good. So even if I went to the other leagues, I would be able to make it back to the NFL just
Yeah,
off my play alone.
awesome. That answers everything I wanted to cover. Is there anything that you're looking to talk about? You want a platform to speak on?
Uh, shoot, nah, I just came on here just to talk.
Appreciate it. Well, those are
Yeah,
all my questions. That was
yeah,
awesome. That was a great 30 minutes.
yeah.
If you ain't got nothing else, I'm good.
All right, yeah, cool. Appreciate you having me on, bro.
Appreciate you. I'll shoot you a message on Twitter once I get this all cut up and where it's going to be and stuff like that.
All right, cool.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.